Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 244 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes after cultivating. His eyes were shining brightly and there was a layer of black gas invisible to the naked eye around him. Inside his body, his origin energy turned into white gas and cycled through his body at speeds several times faster than normal. Wang Lin muttered, "Dao, enter the Dao." After he gained enlightenment, he was no longer confused about his current state but completely aware. He had experienced Dao entering his body a long time ago, but that was the life and death domain. Now he had condensed the karma domain into a corporeal form and it had entered his body. After silently pondering for a while, Wang Lin stood up, and with a flicker he appeared outside the mountain. Ta Shan turned into a shadow and disappeared behind Wang Lin the moment Wang Lin appeared. With one step, Wang Lin disappeared and merged with the world. When he reappeared, he was among the stars. He didn't linger and quickly disappeared. First, I must find Li Yuan and obtain the heart restriction. If anyone dares to get in my way, then I'll activate the divine retribution and borrow their power to help me get through the divine retribution. Wang Lin's eyes were cold. He had already experienced divine retribution several times now and no longer felt the awe for it like in the past. At this moment, he merged with the world and charged toward the southern domain. The Li family was in the southern domain on planet Annihilation. Wang Lin merged with the world and moved at an incredible speed, following the map Li Yuan gave him. However, with his cultivation level, he couldn't be merged with the world for too long. Each time he reappeared, he had to rest for a while. Even so, his speed was far faster than that of cultivators that couldn't merge with the world. On this day when he reappeared, he was in the southern domain, and he flew forward. A moment later, just as he was about to merge with the world, his expression suddenly changed. A powerful sense of crisis filled the area. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and his body flickered. The space he was in suddenly collapsed with a bang and a shockwave spread. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he calmly looked at the distance. He saw a red cloud fill the distance. In an instant, the red cloud gathered before Wang Lin and formed a middle-aged man. "Are you Shumu?" The middle-aged man's right hand had a mirror and he coldly looked at Wang Lin. When Wang Lin saw the middle-aged man, he recognized him, but he didn't speak. Instead, he took a step back and ripples appeared under his feet as he attempted to merge with the world. However, he immediately stopped. The surrounding space was locked by a mysterious force, making it impossible for him to merge. Wang Lin had already guessed this when the middle-aged man had appeared. Now that he had verified this, he didn't panic and calmly looked at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's expression was cold and his voice was even colder. "Although I don't know spatial bend, I can still calculate your location. This place was prepared for you." He didn't even give Wang Lin a chance to speak. The moment he spoke, the bronze mirror in his hand flashed and the surrounding space suddenly vanished. The surroundings turned into a mirror-like surface. "Gather." As the middle-aged man spoke coldly, everything around Wang Lin collapsed into countless fragments. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, everything went into the bronze mirror in his hand. He held the mirror and went off into the distance. All of this happened in an instant. Throughout all of this, the middle-aged man's expression didn't change. It was as if capturing Wang Lin was a very ordinary thing for him. A hazy aura filled the place as Wang Lin appeared. The entire area was filled with mist and a hot energy was coming from all directions. It was as if he was in a heavenly furnace. Wang Lin's eyes were calm and became cold. He made the white gas inside his body touch the black gas outside. They intersected, forming the yin and yang fish, and began rotating. At this moment, Wang Lin's cultivation took that step. Nirvana Scryer. A loud bang echoed within this misty space as Wang Lin stepped into the Nirvana Scryer stage. Wang Lin's body began to float and his hair moved without any wind. A powerful aura came from his body as the yin and yang fishes rotated. A vortex was formed and it rampaged around Wang Lin. Large amounts of mist retreated under this storm as if it were being pushed back. Even the hot energy dissipated as if it didn't dare to approach. Wang Lin's eyes contained the sun and moon. The black and white gas rapidly rotated, forming a vortex that looked like two dragons were intersecting. Thunderous roars echoed in this mist-filled space. A cold glint flashed across his eyes as he raised his head and looked up. Yao Yun was quickly moving through space with a cold expression. At this instant, his expression changed as he saw a large amount of red clouds gather. These red clouds were very different from the one under his feet. This red clouds contained a power that shocked even him. This is divine retribution cloud. His pupils suddenly shrank. He had reached the early stage nirvana cleanser thousands of years ago, but for some unknown reason, it suddenly regressed back to the mid-stage of nirvana skriya. Not only that, he seemed to have forgotten many things. In particular, the memories of when he left the blood planet thousands of years ago were a complete blur. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember anything. He only vaguely remembered that he seemed to have something that made the ancestor extremely unhappy. However, in the end the ancestor forgave him and didn't punish him. From then on, his consciousness often blurred and his cultivation regressed a lot over the thousands of years. If that was only the case, it wouldn't be so strange, but every once in a while, he would feel intense pain from his head. It was almost unbearable and he would be filled with an urge to kill like crazy. If he didn't restrain himself, he would begin an endless slaughter. It was as if that was the only way to vent the pain coming from his head. Initially, he could suppress this feeling with his cultivation. However, as time passed and his cultivation continued to regress, the pain intensified. It became even more difficult to suppress the urge to slaughter all the living things in the world. He vaguely knew that this must have had to do with something he encountered on the blood planet. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember what happened back then. He had once asked Blood God, but in the end he got no answer. Feeling helpless, he sealed himself within the family and entered closed-door cultivation to prevent his cultivation from regressing. He also wanted to delay his madness and pursue his lost memories. This continued until not long ago, when he received the order from the ancestor to go out and kill someone named Shumu. He obtained all the information about this person from the ancestor so that he would have everything under control. At this moment, when he saw the divine retribution cloud, he felt shock in his head. This shock wasn't all from him, but from a large part of his soul. It was as if the divine retribution lightning was his natural enemy. This feeling was very strong. In the end, it was so intense that it became painful. It was as if a stake had been stabbed into his brain. The intense pain caused his eyes to turn bloodshot. An angry roar came out from his mouth. This sound spread like a thunder roar. A powerful surge of origin energy spread out from Yao Yun. His hair fluttered and his face turned blue. A green light covered his body and another face appeared within the green light. This was a demonic face with two horns. After it appeared, it stared at the divine retribution clouds that were quickly gathering. It then opened its mouth and let out a silent roar. This roar had no sound, but it caused the divine retribution clouds that were gathering to tremble and a large amount of them collapsed. However, the parts that collapsed instantly reformed at an even faster rate. In the blink of an eye, the area was filled with a divine retribution cloud more than 100,000 feet wide. A ray of red lightning descended from the sky at an unimaginable speed. The painful expression on Yao Yun's face became even stronger. The demonic shadow around Yao Yun immediately charged out from Yao Yun's body. It rushed toward the red lightning and opened its mouth to devour it. There was a loud bang as the demonic shadow trembled and nearly collapsed. At the same time, a large amount of lightning went through the shadow and entered Yao Yun's body. The painful expression on Yao Yun's face became even stronger. There was a part of the divine retribution that entered the bronze mirror. Just at this instant, a faint cracking sound came from the bronze mirror. Just as it appeared, more cracking sounds continued to appear. Inside the space filled with mist, Wang Lin was like an unsheathed sword. He charged upward as the black and white gas rotated before him. The storm created by the black and white gas roared violently around his body. Heavenly chop! A roar came from Wang Lin. The black and white gas outside his body quickly fused into a ray of grey sword energy and shot out. Boom! A loud bang echoed as the mirror in Yao Yun's hand shattered. Countless fragments spread out from the impact of the force. Wang Lin's figure walked out the moment the mirror collapsed. Yao Yun didn't even look at the bronze mirror. At this moment, he had long forgotten his order from the ancestor. He held his head and constantly roared in pain. The demonic shadow was more than 100 feet tall. It withdrew its gaze from the divine retribution lightning and coldly looked at Wang Lin. Ancient demon. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The ancient demon's eyes revealed a demonic glow. Its body flickered and it grabbed Yao Yun, wanting to bring him outside the range of the divine retribution cloud. Just at this moment, the divine retribution cloud released a heaven-shattering roar and 4 bolts of thunder descended. 2 went directly toward Wang Lin and the remaining 2 went toward the ancient demon. Wang Lin's expression was calm as the power of divine tributation had been split. He calmly moved his hand before him. White and black gas quickly formed the picture of yin and yang before him. The first ray of lightning arrived and collided with the yin and yang image. There was a thunderous roar and Wang Lin retreated like crazy while the yin and yang vortex before him absorbed the lightning. Then the second ray of divine retribution descended on the yin and yang image. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light as his origin soul charged out in the shape of the ancient thunder dragon and devoured it. Devouring divine retribution. Wang Lin's origin soul trembled violently as the power of the divine retribution echoed inside his origin soul. However, the ancient thunder dragon lived in lightning and thunder. It let out a roar as he returned to his body and he quickly retreated. However, Wang Lin didn't reveal any signs of panic. Although divine retribution was strong, he wasn't afraid of it at all, much less when there was someone else taking half the burden. As for the ancient demon, while it retreated like crazy, the divine retribution cloud extended like crazy. Although it had devoured both of the divine retribution lightning bolts, it became even more blurry and let out silent roars while it continued to retreat. It was so fast that even the divine retribution cloud couldn't keep up. It looked as if it was about to take Yao Yun and leave the area of the divine retribution cloud. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Yao Yun, do you remember the 2 sisters, Yao Bingyun and Yao Mengyun? Do you remember back on the Blood Planet, the scene of the ancient lamp devouring that soul?" Wang Lin's voice contained his divine sense. It spread out with might and landed on the retreating Yao Yun's ears. Yao Yun's painful roar became even more intense and he actually stopped moving. All of the veins on his face were bulged. His expression was ferocious as he held his head in pain and roared, "Get out of my body! I don't care who you are, get out of my body!" Yao Yun jerked his head up and his eyes were red with madness. It was as if he could see the ancient demon above him that was extended from his body. The ancient demon's expression became even more gloomy. It looked at Wang Lin with a cold expression. Rather than retreating, it rapidly extended from Yao Yun and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he opened his mouth to spit out white gas. There was an item inside the white gas, the celestial sealing stamp. It suddenly expanded before Wang Lin, and as his hand formed a seal, hundreds of thousands of seals shot out toward the ancient demon. Just at this moment, the divine retribution cloud condensed once more, forming more than a dozen bolts of red lightning more than 10 feet long. It was as if space itself was going to collapse when they descended. While facing hundreds of thousands of seals and divine retribution lightning, the ancient demon's eyes lit up. It spat out a few silent words and in an instant its already blurry body became even more blurred. Those hundreds of thousands of golden seals seemed to have lost their target. The divine retribution lighting bolts all stopped as if they had lost their target and changed their direction toward Wang Lin. As the loud rumbles echoed, the ancient demon revealed a grin. At this critical moment, Wang Lin didn't reveal the slightest trace of panic. His right hand reached toward the void and all the golden seals quickly gathered toward him. It looked like Wang Lin was going to seal himself. The divine retribution lightning quickly descended. Just at this instant, there was a flash of light before Wang Lin and an illusory furnace appeared. The moment the furnace appeared, a powerful ancient god aura spread out. The ancient demon gasped and its eyes opened wide and were filled with disbelief. A mere little demon, you're not worthy of my attention. Change positions. Wang Lin revealed a strange smile as a strange force came from the ancient god furnace. In an instant, Wang Lin's body disappeared and the ancient demon with a shocked expression also disappeared. The two of them completely changed positions at this instant. The moment the ancient demon reappeared, hundreds of thousands of golden runes had surrounded it and more than 10 divine retribution lightning bolts were rushing toward it. A heaven-shattering roar echoed across the stars. Under the siege of the hundreds of thousands of seals, the ancient demon was hit by more than 10 divine retribution lightning bolts. The ancient demon let out a fierce roar and its body almost collapsed. In the end, it turned into a demonic seal that penetrated the void toward between Yao Yun's eyebrows. This demonic seal gave off the feeling that it was extremely weak. At this moment, Yao Yun's expression became even more fierce and he shouted, "Get out!" His body seemed to have gone crazy and his origin energy surged as if he was going to explode. The origin energy pushed out as it tried to prevent the demonic seal from returning. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He didn't act to help but instead retreated. The divine retribution hadn't ended and would only become stronger. Right now, with the ancient demon helping him, he would much rather leave. However, just at this instant, Wang Lin's expression changed greatly. At this moment, a bloody aura suddenly appeared. This aura seemed to be unafraid of the divine retribution and rushed over. Soon, a large amount of blood mist appeared. "It's time to end this." An ancient voice came from the mist. At the same time, a withered arm came from behind Yao Yun and grabbed the demonic seal. The hand ignored Yao Yun's origin energy and pressed it directly between his eyebrows. Blood God. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank. At this moment, inside the Thunder Celestial Temple Celestial, Lord Qing Shui suddenly opened his eyes. After silently pondering for a moment, he let out a cold snort and disappeared. A large amount of divine retribution spread, forming a powerful pressure. This pressure was so powerful that everything within the range of the pressure was subjected to divine retribution. The power of divine retribution had just started. The heaven's might and destructive force contained in this divine retribution was several times stronger than before. The appearance of the divine retribution clouds not only cut off this area from the rest of the world, but all the powerful cultivators in the southern domain could feel that the heavens was in a violent state. These fluctuations were very strong, it was as if they could control the origin energy inside their bodies. Many cultivators' expressions changed as they sat down and sealed the origin energy inside their bodies. The demonic seal was flickering between Yao Yun's eyebrows and his eyes were filled with confusion. The ferocious expression on his face gradually dissipated and even the bulged veins slowly recovered. Only in the depth of his eyes could a hidden and frantic struggle be seen. If one had a spell to check the inside of his heart, one would hear his roar filled with madness. Red light gathered before Yao Yun. Soon, a person walked out from this blinding, red light. The person was wearing a loose, blood-red robe and his red hair moved without any wind. He gave off an ancient aura that contained an almost indistinguishable hint of demonic aura. He was the Yao family ancestor, Blood God. When he appeared, he casually waved his right hand and the demonic seal on Yao Yun became more powerful. The struggle in Yao Yun's eyes finally disappeared. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. The moment Blood God's figure appeared, Wang Lin quickly retreated and placed his hand on his bag. If it wasn't for the fact that the divine retribution prevented him from merging with the world, he would have left without hesitation. At this moment, he wasn't slow at all and was like a ray of light. He used all the power he had to retreat. Blood God was calm as he looked at the retreating Wang Lin as if he was looking at an ant. He lifted his right hand to point at Wang Lin and said, "Give me the item you obtained inside the Moongazer serpent." His voice was calm, but when it came out from his mouth, it turned into unimaginable thunderous roars. These thunderous roars were so strong that they caused the world around him to shake violently. It was as if the Blood God's voice was the heaven's might. His voice was the voice of heaven, and no one could resist it. As the rumble spread, space changed and even the divine retribution cloud was forced back. All of this was due to the blood god's voice. It was as if his voice contained a force to bend the laws. It was as if he could change the laws within this area in an instant so that everything followed his rules or else they would collapse. It was as if within this area, blood god was a real celestial. Words that contain law. Wang Lin gasped. To cultivate something like words that contain law to this degree was too shocking. Although he couldn't understand how blood god was able to change the law with his words, he could feel a force as terrifying as him using tens of thousands of heavenly chops at once. It was as if everything in the area had collapsed due to these words. Wang Lin's body was affected as well. Without any warning, the moment those words were said, the large furnace immediately appeared before Wang Lin. Even so, he coughed out a large amount of blood and his face turned deathly pale. This blood god must be injured. There is no way he recovered from the shattered star of an ancient god in such a short period of time. After coughing out blood, Wang Lin retreated even faster and at the same time shouted, "Isn't it a bit too much to attack a junior as a senior? If this gets out, the Yao family's name will be ruined." Blood god's expression was cold as he raised his right hand and pointed with his finger. He gently said, "If you avoid my celestial spell, consider it your fortune." As he spoke, red light gathered at his finger. A blood swallow instantly appeared and rushed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale. While he retreated, he took out the celestial mountain. He had no time to ache over the loose as he threw it and shouted, "Soul, explode!" He obtained the celestial mountain from greed, and after extracting its soul, it was extremely powerful. Although the soul wasn't extracted, the explosion of the soul was even more powerful. The moment the blood swallow closed in, the celestial mountain exploded, creating a violent storm. This storm was very powerful, and with the soul inside, it formed a large vortex. Bursts of destructive aura came from within the vortex. Wang Lin rapidly retreated and spat out the celestial sealing stamp. His hand formed a seal and the celestial sealing stamp flew forward. However, just at this moment, a scene that caused Wang Lin's pupils to shrink appeared before him. The moment the blood swallow and the collapsed mountain storm were about to collide, the swallow opened its mouth and casually inhaled. Suddenly, the terrifying storm was instantly pulled by an unimaginable suction and all of it was inhaled by the blood swallow. All of this happened too fast. The moment the celestial mountain collapsed, it suddenly disappeared. The blood swallow shined brightly and charged toward Wang Lin. The celestial sealing stamp charged forward to obstruct. As Wang Lin's hands formed a seal, hundreds of thousands of golden seals gathered toward the blood swallow. However, the blood swallow opened its mouth and the vortex was spit back out. However, it was now under the control of the blood swallow. The destructive force inside it rumbled as it constantly collided with the incoming golden seals. What celestial spell is this? Devouring my divine sense is normal, but after it devours it, it can even use it. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he stared at the blood swallow. He clenched his teeth as he slapped his back and the third god-slaying war chariot appeared. It flew out and turned into the butterfly. The moment the butterfly appeared, blood god's eyes narrowed and he frowned slightly. The blood swallow rushed out from the golden seals and headed toward Wang Lin. At this instant, the butterfly gently flapped its wings. The blood swallow's eyes glowed red and its body stopped. It opened its mouth and inhaled. The butterfly's wings flapped again and this time colorful powder followed it. The blood swallow let out a cry and charged at the butterfly. The butterfly formed by the god-slaying war chariot continued to flap its wings. Every time the blood swallow moved a distance, it had to stop and devour. As a result, it slowed down a lot. Blood god's expression was cold as he raised his right hand and pointed. The blood swallow shined several times brighter than before. It seemed to have broken some kind of limit and quickly closed in. The butterfly flew forward. As the blood swallow closed in, the butterfly circled around the blood swallow, flapping its wings and releasing colorful powder. The blood light around the swallow dimmed until it was surrounded by a five-colored light. It no longer charged forth but moved with the butterfly. This scene was too strange, but Wang Lin could clearly see that the butterfly had dimmed a lot. It was obvious that it was difficult even for it to go against this kind of spell. The blood swallow accompanied the butterfly and returned to Wang Lin. It didn't attack Wang Lin and instead flew next to Wang Lin like the butterfly. Wang Lin retreated without hesitation and the celestial sealing stamp followed closely after him. Blood God let out a cold snort and took a step forward. With one step, the space behind Wang Lin was torn apart, creating a gap that was difficult to cross. A cold wind came from inside, causing Wang Lin to stop. He stared at Blood God and said, "Is Senior going back on his promise? So what if I break my promise?" Blood God's expression was gloomy as he took a step forward. In addition to blocking Wang Lin, he had injected origin energy inside the divine retribution cloud. In an instant, the divine retribution clouds condensed even more rapidly. Thunderous roars echoed as lightning gathered inside the clouds. Countless bolts of lightning instantly descended. This large amount of lightning was split in half. One half went toward Blood God and the other went toward Wang Lin. At this moment, the surrounding space was enveloped in lightning. The powerful pressure of lightning caused the area to tremble violently. Blood God didn't even look at the divine retribution lightning and took a step. When he reappeared, he was already before Wang Lin. He raised his right hand and casually reached toward Wang Lin. This grab was very simple and there was no power behind it at all. However, when Wang Lin saw this, his mind trembled as if there was no way to dodge it. The divine retribution was closing in and so was Blood God's hand. During this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he shouted, "Do you know ancient demon Bei Lu?" Blood God's body suddenly paused and his eyes gave off a demonic glow. A demonic glow appeared between his eyebrows and black gas rapidly gathered. A demonic figure with two horns appeared. The moment it appeared, its roar echoed inside Wang Lin's origin soul. Bei Lu. Where? This video will end here.